What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and today I'm going to be making some late NFL playoff predictions. As you can see, I'm wearing my brand new Jerry Rice 49ers jersey. So, yeah, I just got it for Christmas. I wore it for the 49ers Seahawks game a couple weeks back when the 49ers stopped the Seahawks literally like 2 inches short of the goal line. That was a fun game to watch. But yeah, anyway, I'm here to make my late playoff predictions. Unfortunately, it's a little late for the wild card round. That has already happened. And even this video is kind of late. I think the divisional playoffs, like the first game, which is 49ers versus Vikings, I think it starts in like an hour and a half from now or something like that. So I don't even know if this video is going to be up in time for the start of that game. But either way, I do plan on getting this video up for you guys today. So yeah, let's talk about some NFL playoff predictions. And by the way, my wild card predictions, if I had included those, yeah, I would have been 1 for 4 on my wild card predictions. I only got one of those predictions right, and that was Seahawks beating the Eagles. Literally every other game I got wrong. But anyway, let's talk about the divisional round first. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the first game, the 49ers versus the Vikings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, as a 49ers fan, even though we were so dominant in the first half of the season, the second half of the season's been a little bit more shaky, a lot more heart attack inducing moments. They've been the most heart attack inducing team lately. Literally every one of their games for like the last 5 or so games ended on the final play. The Ravens game, the Saints game, the Falcons game, the Rams game, and the Seahawks game all came down to the final play. So, yeah, that was kind of scary, and I was shaking the whole time. I don't really expect this game to be much different. Now, the 49ers are getting 3 key defenders back. They're getting Jay Tart back. I can never pronounce that guy's first name, but yeah, Tart, they're getting him back. D Ford is expected to play based on news I saw this morning, so that'll be good for them. And then, of course, Quan Alexander, like one of the better leaders of the 49ers defensive line, he's going to be back. So, yeah, they're getting some huge players back here, and that's going to boost their defense tremendously. And it's definitely going to help since their defense has been the one, like, struggling as of late, especially late in the game. I mean, ever since the Saints game, really, they've just been struggling hard. Even against the Falcons, which, by the way, that game, like, that game shows right there that the 49ers are definitely vulnerable, even against weaker teams. So, yeah, the Vikings are definitely not going to be any pushovers, especially since Dalvin Cook. Yeah, Dalvin Cook is going to be the X factor here for the Vikings. If the 49ers can't stop Dalvin Cook, the Vikings have a good shot of winning this game. And that makes me really nervous as a 49er fan. Now, do I think the 49ers will win this game? Ultimately, yes. I think they will be able to handle Cook or contain Cook well enough, like just well enough so that the 49ers can pull ahead. But the game's going to be a little bit closer than I think it should be based on the matchup. With that being said, I've got the 49ers winning this game by a touchdown. So 49ers will be moving on to the NFC Division Championship, which leads me to the next game, which is the second game today. That is Tennessee Titans playing at Baltimore against the Ravens. Now, I've said it for a while now, the Ravens are the best team in the league. It's like, there's really no other way to put it. The Ravens are the best team in the league. They've won 12 straight games now, I think, or something ridiculous like that. They're on a massive hot streak. Lamar Jackson's going to be your MVP. They love running the ball. Mark Ingram's really good. Even Gus Edwards in the game against Pittsburgh in Week 17, he stepped up a lot. And even receiving-wise, they got some weapons. Mark Andrews is a really good receiver. They've got a couple other guys as well. Their defense is solid. Baltimore's just got it all. Now, the Titans are not really going to be pushovers either. At least if they weren't playing Baltimore, I wouldn't think that. The Titans they've held their own. Derrick Henry's a beast of a running back. He's stepped up a lot over the last few weeks to be I think he has the most rushing yards of any running back this year or something like that. But he's up there. But yeah, he's really good. Ryan Tannehill has had a strong season ever since coming to the Titans. And remember, the Titans were, I I think they were 2-4 at one point this year. They finished 9-7, so they went 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they went to Foxborough and upset Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in New England. So yeah, that was a shock. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the Patriots. Like, the Patriots are out. They're not a part of this. That's the first time in a while that we've been able to say that. So, yeah, and the Titans were the ones to upset them. A.J. Brown, he's a really good rookie as well. The question is, can they stop Baltimore's running game? And honestly, I think the main thing here is going to be Lamar Jackson's rushes. Like, Lamar Jackson's good at scrambling and getting out of sticky situations. He's almost as good of a running back as he is a quarterback, honestly. He might even be better as a rushing quarterback. I mean, that's why he's going to win the MVP, because, yeah, he's thrown for 36 touchdown passes, but he actually hasn't thrown for that many yards compared to other quarterbacks. So, yeah, he's going to be running the ball a lot. Definitely expect that. And with that being said, I feel like this game's just going to be a massacre. Baltimore, even against good teams, like, look at the Texans. They absolutely destroyed them. And then even the Rams next week. Really, the 49ers were the only game that was close in their little 12-game win streak that they had. That was the only close game that they had. So, yeah, I just feel like this game is going to be a total massacre. So, sorry, Titans fans. You may have knocked off the Patriots, but you're not getting past Baltimore. Give me Baltimore to win this game in an absolute blowout. Which leads us to tomorrow's games. The first game, of course, is going to be Houston against Kansas City. And I believe Kansas City's like a 10-point favorite or something like that. And Houston, they just came off a win against Buffalo, in which they had to make a big comeback. And I can tell you right now, if Houston falls behind 16-0 to Kansas City, they're not catching up. Kansas City's offense is just way too powerful. Patrick Mahomes, he can throw all over the Texans' defense. Even with J.J. Watt back, I don't really think that's going to make much of a difference. So, yeah, Houston, honestly, I think they're a bit overrated in my eyes. Deshaun Watson, I think, is a bit overrated. He's a decent quarterback. Like, obviously, he was calm against the Bills, but then again, the Bills, like, their offense just wasn't that good. So, yeah, like, they might be able to hold their own for a while, but Kansas City, I just see them pulling away. They're going to win by, they're going to cover the spread easily. Give me Kansas City to win this game. Like, their defense has stepped up a lot, too, so, yeah, give me Kansas City to win this game. It's not really going to be all that close, I don't think. Which leaves us to the final NFC division round, and that's going to be the Packers versus the Seahawks. This game will be in Green Bay. We all know how Lambeau Field is during January. It's freezing cold. There might even be snow. I've seen forecasts saying there might be snow. So, yeah, it's not going to be easy for Russell Wilson to go in there and beat the Packers, especially since in Lambeau, historically, with Russell Wilson, I don't think Russell Wilson has ever won a game at Lambeau Field. Correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere I checked and it said, like, the Seahawks were like 0-8 at Lambeau or something like that. Actually, let me look it up right now. Let's see. Russell Wilson at Lambeau Field. Let's see. Lambeau Field, Russell Wilson. Yeah, 0-3. So I guess 0-8 is a bit of a stretch here. But yeah, Russell Wilson struggles at Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers is just so good there in the playoffs. Even if I think the Packers are incredibly overrated. Like, I really think the Packers are overrated. Their 13-3 record may look good, but when you look at the teams they've beaten, really the only like significant playoff team they've beaten is the Chiefs. Other than that, they beat the Vikings twice this year. I don't really find that all that impressive, to be honest, especially since the Vikings didn't have Dalvin Cook for one of those games. But, I mean, they had a couple good wins, but nothing significant other than that. They played against a lot of weak teams, and plus they lost at home to the Eagles, and they lost to the Chargers. And let's not forget the massacre by the 49ers on them. So, yeah, like, I do think they're very overrated. Their defense really isn't that strong, I don't think. But it's Aaron Rodgers. It's the playoffs. It's where he tends to excel. And there's no way he's not going to remember the NFC Championship game back in 2015 where the Packers completely somehow like blew a big lead to the Seahawks in CenturyLink Field. I still don't know how the Seahawks managed to pull that game out of their ass. Like, I seriously don't know. That was back when the Seahawks were like always guided by God and just had the luckiest breaks in the world. Even in the Super Bowl, they had that up until the Malcolm Butler interception. But yeah, the Seahawks, that leads me to the Seahawks. Like, they're hurt on offense and defense. They're missing a lot of key players. Chris Carson and both of their backup running backs. They have to rely on Marshawn Lynch, who's played what, 2 games now since like not playing for a year before that or something like that. And then Travis Homer, I don't even know that name. Like, I don't know where they got him, off their practice squad, I guess. But yeah, they don't really have a lot of weapons on running back. The Seahawks don't really have a lot of receiving weapons either, other than Tyler Lockett and Jacob Hollister. I guess DK Metcalf had a good game, didn't he, against the Eagles? But yeah. So I guess they got a couple of decent playmakers, but I don't know. Like, and plus their defense is not nearly as strong as it once was back in 2014, 2015. So, yeah, like they give up a lot of big plays. So, yeah, I think this game has the potential to be a shootout, but ultimately I'm going to go with Green Bay to get the win here. I think Aaron Rodgers is just too good at Lambeau Field. Plus, Aaron Jones can run all over that Seahawks defense. I feel like Devontae Adams is always a good option. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. Green Bay is going to end up taking it, but it won't be by a lot. It'll be by like 4 points, maybe even just a field goal. I don't know, but I do feel like Green Bay's going to take it. So that leads us to the championship games. So let's start off with the AFC Championship game. So based on my predictions, I have Baltimore against Kansas City. This game will be in Baltimore, and this game would have the potential to be the game of the year. It really would. Baltimore against Kansas City. I mean, we saw them play each other earlier this season, where Kansas City ultimately came out on top. That game was in Kansas City. I think this time the game will be in Baltimore, and this one's a tough one to predict because a lot of people say like Baltimore's overrated. They're going to collapse at some point. Honestly, I don't think that'll happen in this game. It could. It very well could. I could see Kansas City winning this game and going to the Super Bowl. Andy Reid wants that Super Bowl. He really wants it. But John Harbaugh wants it just as badly, I feel like, and so does Lamar Jackson. So it's a tough one to predict. It really is. I think in the end, though, I gotta go with Baltimore. This is a tough one to predict, but I am going to go with Baltimore. It's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout or anything like that. It's going to be close. It's going to come down probably to the final play. Give me Baltimore by a field goal. A game-winning field goal at the last second by Justin Tucker. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I really do. So, yeah, give me Baltimore to beat Kansas City and go to the Super Bowl. Now we have the NFC Championship game with the 49ers versus the Packers. This game will be in San Francisco. And we saw how that game went earlier. I mentioned it earlier in this video. The 49ers absolutely massacred them. And that was when they were not at full strength. They had a couple of injuries here. Assuming they get past Minnesota without too many injuries, the 49ers could absolutely drop a ball on the Packers just like they did earlier in the regular season. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think Aaron Rodgers will be much better against the 49ers. I think they'll fare much better. They'll hang in with the 49ers for a little while. But again, as I said earlier, I think the Packers are incredibly overrated this year. Their 13-3 record, while it might look impressive, when you look at the teams they played, it really doesn't seem all that significant other than the Chiefs game. So, yeah, with that being said, give me the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. Again, this game will be much closer though. I think it'll be maybe a touchdown or like 10 points or something like that. It won't be a 30-point blowout like the regular season game was. So, yeah, give me the 49ers to move on to the Super Bowl. They're going to be playing the Ravens. Which leads us to, oh boy, a rematch of Super Bowl 47 between the 49ers and the Ravens. Oh boy, what a game this will be. We saw them play each other earlier in the year, where the Ravens ultimately came out on top in Baltimore off a Justin Tucker field goal. And the other question with the 49ers is Jimmy G, he's never played a playoff game, and that's something I think can hurt them. Lamar Jackson's only played one playoff game, though, in the past. And that was last year against the Chargers, where he got absolutely destroyed. So, yeah. How will they fare this time against the 49ers? We'll see. But it'll be two inexperienced quarterbacks in the playoffs, but both of them, they had solid years. I don't really think Jimmy G's like the biggest playmaker or biggest star of the 49ers. It's going to be George Kittle. Like, that's what he's going to be throwing to George Kittle a lot in the playoffs. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, George Kittle is going to be making a lot of plays. Deebo Samuel as well. Emmanuel Sanders, who they traded for before the trade deadline. We'll see where this goes. I think it's going to be a good game. It won't be too terribly high scoring, I don't think. I think it'll be similar to what we got in the regular season. So like 20-17 or somewhere around that area. But, oh, screw it. You know what? I got to go with it. I'm going with my 49ers, baby. This is their year. Let's bring home that Lombardi trophy. The first Lombardi trophy that we win since, 1994, I think? I don't even remember the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl. It was before I was alive. I know that much. So, yeah, back when Steve Young was the quarterback. Now, who do I think the MVP will be? George Kittle. That's my guess right there. George Kittle is going to be the MVP of Super Bowl 54. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It won't be quite as much of a defensive game as last year's Super Bowl was, but it'll still be mostly a defensive game. There will be a couple touchdowns scored early on, I think. But ultimately, I think the 49ers are going to do what they did, or what Baltimore did to them earlier in the regular season. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think the final score, 23-20. Give me the 49ers to hoist the Lombardi trophy with George Kittle winning the MVP. So, yes, there is my NFL playoff predictions. What did you guys think about them? I swear to God, I'm not being biased. I promise. I could have picked Baltimore to win this game. I could definitely see Baltimore winning the Super Bowl, or even the Chiefs. Like, the 49ers may lose today. And, remember, I went 1 for 4 on my wild card picks. So, yeah, there's a good chance I get at least a couple of these wrong. In fact, I almost guarantee I'm going to get at least a couple of these wrong. So, yeah, the 49ers could very well lose today, and that'll be the end of it. But we'll see. We'll see how they do. But, yeah, leave down in the comments below what you thought of my predictions, and what would your NFL predictions be for the playoffs this year. Leave them down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future. And it's that time of year. The top 10 best and worst movies of 2019 will be up soon. I'm hoping to have best up by tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to have worst up. That'll be a little bit later. But my goal is to have the best up by the time the Oscar nominations are announced, which they will be announced Monday. So I will be doing a live reaction to those nominations as well. So make sure to stay tuned for those videos. And until my next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember, stay California cool. Peace, and go 49ers, baby. Get that 6th Super Bowl ring.